And welcome back to the channel, everybody. So this week we had a variation on bench press, the floor press, and I wanted to share a couple of clips with you from that workout. Stick around to the end of the video because after those short clips, I'm going to go over a few points, things that I do that I frequently get asked about. So I'm going to answer those questions for you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll the clips, and then we'll see you afterwards.
Sorry.
Come on.
There you go. One more.
Come on.
Okay, so there we go. We got the some of the top sets. I think I skipped one or two in the middle there. The first set was just under 700 pounds. We made a bit of a jump to close to 8. And then that top end set with 900 was a rep PR. Previously, before this date, I had done maybe a triple with 900 pounds. Although my highest triple ever has been 1,005, I still have not done above 3 reps with 900, so that was a nice day for me. I definitely wanted to go up from there. We had a little situation with spotters. I had one spotter, my gym owner, good friend, Joe Strada, and asking him to hand off more than that was probably going to be a little too much to ask. By himself, that is. Joe is my center handoff guy on all my big lifts every Saturday morning, but that is also a 3-team lift. So again, he is by himself. So 900 pounds was a lot to ask. So as always, a big shout out to Joe Strada. We love you, buddy. Okay, now the key points that we're going to talk about. The first thing is the range of motion. People are asking me like, well, why don't your elbows touch the floor? My answer to that is my triceps are hitting the floor before my elbows. So I'm just going down to wherever the bar stops because my arms come into contact with the floor, making sure that I get a nice, deliberate pause before then reversing the motion and pressing the weight up. Then some other points in the video that people ask me all the time, like why are you laying on a mat? And also, what are those blocks doing on the outside? I don't always use the blocks. That's actually a rare thing, but because we were short-handed on the spotter situation like I mentioned earlier, we threw these thin little blocks under the plates just in case I did take a dump with the weight and it came crashing down to the floor. It would hit those blocks first and it would probably hurt me a little bit less. I don't always use them. I normally have 3 people spotting. This was just a in-the-moment situational fix. More importantly, why am I laying on the mat? Most commonly when you see a floor press, you see the individual or the athlete just laying on the bare, hard floor. Maybe with lightweight, this is not a big deal. When you are handling heavier loads, or for the individual, the maximum loads, this could actually eventually lead to a tear. But we are laying on a bench pad. The pad we lay on has a little bit of give, some cushion to it. And while we are performing the bench press movement, our scapulas are rotating a little bit. That's our natural rotational movement of the scapulas during the bench press motion. If you are laying on the hard floor, you are preventing that natural motion of the scapulas, and you run the risk of tearing a muscle. In particular, you have the long head of the tricep that actually connects into the back, which is why it's called the long head, and you could, in fact, tear it off in your back. So if you're going to do heavy floor press, make sure you lay a yoga mat down, something thin that has a little bit of give to it, allow for that natural rotation of your scapulas. Thirdly, and one of the most common questions is why even bother floor pressing? Why not just bench the weight, go onto a bench and just do it that way? A couple of reasons. One, variety. Do the same thing too long or too often, you will eventually start to go backwards. One of the few conjugate training principles that I actually agree with. You have to rotate your max effort movements. Second reason, floor pressing is a lot harder than bench pressing. One of the main reasons is you have the breakup of the eccentric-concentric chain. Similarly, for something like the squat, you would have a box squat. If done properly, a box squat has that eccentric-concentric chain breakup right in the middle. So I'm coming down to the floor and I have that very deliberate stop on the floor and then reverse the motion and press the weight. That becomes much harder than just doing a full range of motion bench press where you don't have that breakup between the lowering and pressing phase. And obviously I've repped much heavier weights for a lot more reps on the bench. So for me to handle 900 pounds on the floor for a set of 5 shows that it is much harder for me to do. Granted, it's not my best performance on the floor press to date, but given the lack of spotters and also being allergy season, it's been a very rough week for me, so that was actually pretty cool. And for safety, if you think about it, you cannot lay on a wider pad than the floor itself. You have complete shoulder coverage. You have no shoulder problems with the shoulder hanging off the sides of the pad. If you're a really wide guy laying on a very narrow bench, you have that shoulder overhang, which is what can really damage the shoulders. On the floor press, not a problem. So there we go. There's some reasons why I do the floor press. Hope you enjoyed that. If you all have general questions for me on floor pressing or anything else bench press related, just drop them in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel for more bench pressing content from me. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and we'll see you next time.